The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, there was an emperor who loved clothes more than anything else. He had more clothes than anyone in the land. The emperor's closets filled were so big, and most of the rooms in the royal palace were his closets. It was a good thing that the emperor was very rich because he spent so much money on clothes. The emperor selected only the finest, most comfortable fabrics, and he hired the best tailors to work for him. The emperor also spent lots of money on mirrors. He thought that his fancy clothes made him look quite dashing, so he spent most of his free time looking at himself. The emperor's pride was well known throughout the kingdom. Everybody thought he was quite silly to spend so much time in front of mirrors. They made jokes behind his back, but no one ever said anything directly to his face. They did not want to make the emperor angry because he was, after all, the ruler of the land. Word of the silly emperor who loved fine clothes had reached two thieves in a faraway land. Instead of making jokes about him, the thieves thought of a way that they could use the emperor's pride to make themselves rich. The thieves dressed up as traveling tailors and made the long journey to the emperor's palace. They told the palace guards that they had the most wonderful fabric in all of the world, and they asked for permission to show it to the emperor. Of course, the guards let them into the palace. These sneaky thieves presented themselves to the emperor and his wife. They explained that their fabric was not wonderful, but magic too. Only the wisest people in the land will see this fabric, they said. It will be invisible to fools and to those who are unfit. When the thieves opened their bags, the emperor squinted. He saw nothing. Why, I must be a fool. Either that or I do not deserve to sit on the throne. The emperor was embarrassed that he could not see the fabric, so he said, "That's the most magnificent fabric I've ever seen." The emperor asked his wife what she thought of the fabric. She couldn't see anything, but she did not want to think anyone was a fool, so she said, "It's quite extraordinary. It's like no other fabric that I know." Knowing his wife was no fool, the emperor thought the fabric must be real, even though he could not see it. He offered the thieves 20 pieces of gold to make a new suit for him. They thanked the emperor and went to work right away. "When you wear this suit, it will feel as light as a spider's web against your skin," one thief said as he measured the top of the emperor's head. The other thief explained, "You might even feel as though you're wearing nothing at all." "I can't wait to try on my new suit," said the emperor. "It really sounds like the most wonderful fabric in the world." The thieves smiled slyly and winked at each other behind the emperor's back. They had finished sizing him up. After a few days, the royal minister went to see how the new suit was coming along. He was going to tell the tailors to work as quickly as possible because the emperor was getting anxious. The minister was stunned by what he didn't see. The tailors were cutting away the air with their scissors, and they were stitching up fabric that wasn't there. "Is it possible that I'm a fool?" Seeing the minister, one of the thieves said, "Please tell the emperor that his suit will be ready soon. But first, please order another tray of food for us. All of this hard work is making us very hungry." That must be true, the minister thought as he saw apple cores, chicken legs, and bits of cheese all over the floor. The thieves had eaten so much lately, they must be working hard on something. Finally, the thieves brought the emperor his new suit. He put it on slowly, being careful not to snag the fine stitching he couldn't see. Then he strutted around the room. He had never felt so dashing. "This is truly the finest suit I've ever had. Tell me, what do you think of it?" "If you're happy, then I'm happy," said the royal minister, who was truly anything but happy. In his eyes, the emperor was standing in front of a mirror in his underwear, admiring a new suit that wasn't even there. The emperor wanted to show off his new suit to everyone in the land. He asked the royal minister to call for a royal parade the next day. "If that's what you want," said the minister, "then you shall have your parade." Everyone in the kingdom was excited about the parade. They long ago had grown bored with all of the stories of the emperor's clothes, but what interested them now was the new magical fabric. They had all heard that fools could not see the fabric, and they wanted to find out who among them was a fool. On the day of the parade, everyone pushed and shoved to get the best view. But when the emperor appeared, everyone was shocked. The emperor was in his underwear. Nobody in the crowd could see his suit, but of course no one would admit that. Nobody wanted to look like a fool. Instead, the people said, "How handsome you look, Your Majesty. That's certainly a splendid suit. I never knew of any fabric so wonderful." Suddenly, a young boy cried out over the noisy crowd. "The emperor isn't wearing a new suit," he said. "What's everyone talking about? He's in his underwear." The emperor quickly turned to look at the crowd. They stood in stunned silence. Instantly, the emperor knew the boy was telling the truth. He realized that he had been a fool, and now he was parading himself throughout the kingdom in his underwear. Needless to say, the emperor felt quite embarrassed. All at once, everyone in the crowd began to laugh. They realized they had all been foolish too. They pretended to see a suit that was not even there because they were afraid of what others would think. They felt silly for not telling the truth to the emperor. After the parade, the embarrassed emperor quickly returned to the palace to put on some clothes. He ignored all of his fancy and frilly clothes and chose to put on a simple blue robe with plain yellow buttons. "Ah, that's better," said the emperor as he slipped on his robe. "I was beginning to get a chill from my new magical suit." For the first time, the emperor left his room without looking in the mirror. Then he invited the honest young boy to speak with him in his court. "I have decided to make you a junior minister. You have shown that you are very brave. You risked being called a fool to tell me the truth," the emperor said. "You will always be one of my most trusted friends." "Thank you," the boy said. "I will always be honest with you, even if you don't like what I have to say." "I'm counting on it," said the emperor. The end.